Last week, I showed you the wall. 20 brands, one company, a $10 frame sold for $400. And at the end, I told you about the lock. This is it. The vision insurance in your wallet. The benefit from work is very likely owned by the company that made the frame, made the lens, and owns the store. EyeMed, 40 million members, bought by Luxottica 5 years ago. The insurer and the seller are the same company. Stay to the end. A single question beats this entire loop. It takes minutes. Vision insurance feels like the most boring line in the benefits packet. It costs a few dollars a paycheck. It comes with a glasses allowance, and it gets sold to you as free money. Here is the scale of that boring little benefit. EyeMed is the second biggest vision insurer in America, 40 million members, and it lives inside Luxottica, the parent company from the last episode. VSP is the biggest, with 80 million members. And last year, VSP signed a multi-year exclusive partnership with the same parent. Added up, and well over 100 million Americans carry vision coverage that routes through a single eyewear company. The second biggest insurer owned outright, the biggest contractually tied, and the plan itself is engineered to escape scrutiny. Vision insurance arrives bundled with dental in the onboarding stack, pre-selected, one checkbox among 40. People will spend 3 hours comparing health plans and 3 seconds on vision, but multiply those few dollars a paycheck by 40 million members, and the boring checkbox becomes a river of premium revenue, flowing every 2 weeks toward an eyewear manufacturer. Look who is left. Not the stores. LensCrafters, Sunglass Hut, Pearl Vision, and Target Optical are thousands of retail locations answering to the same parent. Not the frames. Ray-Ban, Oakley, Persol, Vogue, and Oliver Peoples all answer to it too. Not the lenses. Essilor, Verilux, Chrysler, Transitions. And as of 5 years ago, not the insurance either. An insurance company is supposed to sit between the buyer and the seller and protect the buyer's money. This company sits inside the seller. The referee is wearing the other team's jersey, and almost nobody checks, which is exactly how a lock works best. Nobody looks at it. Here is what the loop looks like from the inside. A member walks into LensCrafters with an EyeMed card. Watch each dollar. The premium came out of a paycheck all year and went to EyeMed, which is owned by Luxottica. The plan works best in network, and the in-network store is LensCrafters, owned by Luxottica. The frame on the shelf is a Ray-Ban, owned by Luxottica, and the lens inside it is an Essilor, the parent's own name printed on the product. When the claim gets filed, even the paperwork is handled by a claims operation reporting to the same parent. The claim gets processed and paid, and the payment lands at a store the insurer's parent owns for a frame the parent made, with a lens the parent made. The money never leaves the building. It gets stranger. In a normal market, 4 different companies would be fighting over that transaction. An insurer trying to pay less, a retailer trying to charge more, a frame maker and a lens maker squeezed in between. Those 4 fights are what keep prices honest. Here, all 4 seats at the table are held by one company negotiating with itself, and the customer is the only one at the table who doesn't know the fights are fixed. Now think about what insurance is supposed to be. Every insurer on earth treats a claim as a loss. Car insurers lose money when they pay for crashes, and health insurers lose money when they pay for surgery. The whole industry is built around dreading the payout. EyeMed is the exception. When EyeMed pays a claim at LensCrafters, the parent books retail revenue on a frame that cost pocket change to make. The claim is not a loss. The claim is a sale. It is the only insurance model in America where paying out is the business. Sit with that. The thing that makes insurance trustworthy, the insurer's fear of paying, is gone, replaced by its opposite. An insurer that wants claims at its own stores, at its own prices, on its own products. What does a company do with that kind of power? It writes the rules of the network, sets the allowance, sets the copay, and decides what out-of-network is worth. And every one of those rules can be tuned to push members toward the shelf the parent owns, toward you buying where they want you to buy. That is the machine, not a conspiracy, a design. The loop only works if members keep walking in voluntarily, and they do, every December. Vision benefits reset with the calendar year, so whatever allowance is left in late December disappears at midnight on New Year's Eve. Use it or lose it. Every winter, millions of people rush to spend a benefit they already paid for through premiums. Maybe this was you. You went in during the holidays because the allowance was about to expire, and you did not price compare at console Y comparison shop when the plan is paying. You picked a frame off the wall, the sticker said $400, and the receipt said the plan saved you $150. You paid the difference and walked out feeling like the insurance worked. Now run the numbers from the last episode. The frame cost pocket change to make. The markup was over 1,000% before any discount was applied. The savings came off a price the same company invented, and the premiums that funded the discount went to the insurer the company owns. You did not get a deal. You got a coupon for the company store, and the coupon expires every December to make sure it gets used. Retail has a name for this mechanic: breakage. Gift cards work the same way. The expiry date is not there for accounting. It is there because urgency kills comparison shopping. A benefit that expires gets spent carelessly, while a benefit that rolls over gets scrutinized. And notice when the store is busiest, December dollars. When the deadline does the selling. Nobody rushes in January, when the allowance is fresh and there is a whole year to shop around. The calendar is doing what a salesman used to do, and it works on millions of people at once, every single year, for free. Use it or lose it is not an insurance feature. It is a retail feature. Remember that the next time the deadline feels helpful. Here is what happens when a member tries to leave. Say the member skips the wall and buys from Zenny or Warby Parker or the independent shop downtown. The plan does not say no. It just changes the math. In network, the allowance applies up front at the register automatically. Out of network, the member pays full price, files the claim by hand, mails the receipt, and waits. And the reimbursement is not the same allowance. Industry analysts put typical out-of-network reimbursement at half the in-network benefits, sometimes less than a third. Same premium, same member, same pair of eyes. The benefit shrinks by half the moment the money threatens to leave the family of companies, your premium, their wall. Look at the friction too, because the friction is the product. In network, swipe, done. Out of network, download a form, print it, attach an itemized receipt, mail it, and wait weeks for a paper check. Every extra step is a percentage of people who give up. The company does not need to forbid you from shopping elsewhere. It just needs to make elsewhere exhausting. And it counts on most people never trying twice. What kind of insurance cares where the customer shops? Networks are normal in insurance, but a hospital network does not share a parent company with the insurer. Here, the in-network list reads like a subsidiary directory: LensCrafters, Pearl Vision, Target Optical, Sunglass Hut. The network is the company store, and the out-of-network penalty is the tax for shopping anywhere else. And none of this is visible at the register. The plan documents never mention that the insurer and the store share a parent, the card does not say it, and the optician does not say it. The whole lock depends on the customer never asking who owns what. Here is how a company ends up owning the insurance that pays for its own products. Quietly. 5 years ago, Essilor Luxottica took full ownership of EyeMed, the second biggest vision insurer in the country, 40 million members, folded into the same parent as the frames, the lenses, and the stores. Try the same sentence in any other industry. Imagine the biggest hospital chain in America buying the second biggest health insurer, then deciding which hospitals count as in-network. Imagine the biggest car maker buying the second biggest auto insurer, then setting the repair rates for every independent garage in the country. Front page news, congressional hearings, emergency injunctions. The EyeMed deal got a press release and a shrug from the trade papers. Think about the timing, too. By 2021, the parent already owned the frames, the lenses, and the stores, which made the insurance the last open door. The one place a customer's money could still exit the system. Buying the insurer did not add a product, it closed the exit. That is what separates this acquisition from every other deal on the balance sheet. It was never about selling more glasses. It was about making sure the money that pays for glasses starts inside the company and stays there. Part of the silence is triage. Vision is small next to healthcare, and regulators chase bigger fires. But part of it is precedent. Back in 2018, the European Commission approved the Essilor and Luxottica merger unconditionally, with no conditions and no divestitures, and American regulators raised no objection either. Frames and lenses went under one roof, and the insurance was simply the next floor of the same building. There is a pattern here, and it is the same pattern from the egg episode and the realtor episode. The scandal is not that somebody broke the law. The scandal is that nobody had to. Vertical integration is legal, buying an insurer is legal, and steering members toward the shelf is legal as long as the paperwork calls it a network. Every layer got approved separately. Nobody was in charge of noticing the whole. Where were the regulators? Looking somewhere else, structurally. American antitrust law was built to catch horizontal monopolies, one seller swallowing its rivals until prices spike. That trips the alarms: market share, collusion, price fixing. The egg cartel tripped those wires, and so did the realtors. Vertical integration does not trip the wires. When a manufacturer buys a store or an insurer, no rival disappears, and no price visibly jumps, because prices were already high. The machine just gets quieter and more complete. On paper, EyeMed competes with VSP, and LensCrafters competes with the shop across the street. Then last year, the paper changed. VSP, the biggest vision insurer in the country, signed a multi-year exclusive partnership with Essilor Luxottica. The insurer that was supposed to be the alternative became a partner. The top of the vision insurance market is no longer two rivals. It is an owned subsidiary and a contracted ally, both routing members toward the same walls, the same frames, the same lenses. Sequence the approvals. Every card on that list is a decision made by an agency whose job is protecting you. None of them got the law wrong, and that is exactly the point. The law has a blind spot shaped like this company. So who pays for the loop? Start with members. The premium comes out of every paycheck, whether glasses get bought or not. The copay comes at the register, and everything above the allowance comes out of pocket at prices the parent set. If you carried vision insurance last year, some of this machine ran on your money. Employers pay too. Benefits teams buy vision plans in good faith as a perk to compete for people like you. And most have no idea the plan is owned by an eyewear manufacturer. They are buying the leash and calling it a gift. Independent optometrists pay the most. Picture a private practice that has to join the network to see insured patients. The network's reimbursement rates are set by EyeMed, and EyeMed's parent owns LensCrafters, often in the same shopping center. The private shop's biggest competitor literally decides how much the shop earns per patient. Accept the rates, and the margins shrink. Refuse, and the patients follow their insurance elsewhere. Heads, the company wins. Tails, the shop loses. And the squeeze tightens over time. When reimbursements stall while rent and staff costs climb, the independent shop has two ways out: sell the practice, often to a chain, or make up the margin on the retail side by selling frames it buys from the same parent company's catalog. Either way, the money funnels upward. The optometrist keeps the diploma on the wall, but the economics belong to someone else. Taxpayers quietly subsidize all of it because employer-sponsored benefits are paid pre-tax. Every premium dollar routed into the loop skipped the tax base on its way to a record margin. Remember the December shopper from earlier, the allowance, the wall, the receipt. Nothing about that transaction was an accident. The expiry date, the network list, the reimbursement penalty, and the brands on the shelf were all set by a single company, and every piece pushed in the same direction, toward the wall. That is not a marketplace. That is a funnel. 3 things to make each specific, each doable this month. First, iti mansawin the question. Next time glasses are on the agenda, ask the optician this before mentioning insurance. What is the cash price? For basic single vision pairs, the cash price at an independent shop, or the sticker at Zenni or Warby Parker, often beats the copay plus overrun route through the plan. Compare first, swipe second, and while there, request the full prescription with pupillary distance, same as last episode. It is a legal right, and it unlocks every store the network hides. Second, this week, pull up the plan documents and find the out-of-network claim form. The allowance is real money that works outside the wall. It just has to be claimed by hand. Buy anywhere. Keep the receipt. File the form. If the reimbursement comes back at half the in-network rate, forward that math to HR with one question attached. Did we know our vision plan is owned by an eyewear company? Benefits teams renegotiate over exactly this kind of email, and steering complaints belong at the FTC. Report fraud.ftc.gov or call 877-382-4357. Vertical steering reports are how case files get built. Third, the next video. The machine has a final layer, and it is the strangest of the series. The company that owns the frame, the lens, the store, and the insurance has started mounting cameras and microphones on the frame itself. Meta glasses. The wall was after your money. The final layer is after your eyes. That is the next episode. If this made the benefits packet look different, wait until the glasses start watching back.